Welcome back to Black Optical TV. We are honored to have Bill Barton and Patty Perrera joining us today. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us, guys, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, so good to see you guys. So I'm going to start us off with some questions. The first one is just kind of a general, personal question. How are you and your loved ones doing during this unique time, this season? I know it's been a challenge for everyone. So to kind of fill us in, where are you guys at? How's everyone doing?
Go ahead, Patty.
I've been working from home, so for me, not much has changed there. I try to see my mom twice a week because she lives by herself in Orange County, and I take her groceries. But everybody's doing really good. You know, it's kind of nice to strip away all the things that aren't necessarily important, but keep you kind of crazy, and just kind of enjoying time together. I mean, I made a puzzle with my grandson. I can't believe that he actually called me and was like, "Hey, I have a puzzle. Can I come over and do it with you?" Never in 21 years has that ever happened. So,
I love that.
you know, a lot of cooking at home, which is nice. Although I do miss going out, but we're good.
Yeah, I've got a big family. I got actually 3 of my kids are back living with us now. One of my youngest daughter is now a senior at Pepperdine, so she was taking online classes and working from our house. And my son and one of my other daughters kind of just moved back in. His lease was up, so he's like, "I'm moving in with the parents." And it's been so much fun. I mean, every night we have dinner. My 4th child lives in Dana Point with her husband and kids, and they're at our house a lot too. So we really, I think my wife and I were saying we probably had dinner with all 4 of our kids and grandkids like 15 times over this period. So that would never happen, you know.
Yeah.
So that's been awesome, and we've really enjoyed it. And we love being together, so we have a close family. So that's been good. You know, everybody's a little freaked out, so you just got to keep things real positive and just keep day to day, move forward.
Yeah. It's so cool that you guys are like seeing the positive in it too, like being with your family and stuff. That's incredible. Mm-hmm. You've been married 32 years, I think I read recently, Bill. Is that right?
Yeah. Chrissy and I actually, it's funny, we've been together since college. We met in 82. I had a Zoom conference with my ultimate Frisbee team from Pitzer College like 2 weeks ago. And I haven't seen some of these guys in 37 years. And we were tight. We traveled all over to play in these tournaments back then. And so it was so fun. So yeah, long time. Long friends.
Zoom bringing us together, isn't that?
It's true.
That's wild. So obviously you guys are sheltering in place somewhat still there in California. Tell us a place, if it wasn't SoCal, where would you want to escape right now? If you could go anywhere in the world, what is some of your favorite spots?
I think that's obvious. We have a little house in Jamaica and a grill, and I just can't wait to get back there. Also to make sure it's still there, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, but that's kind of my escape, my getaway, a place that I feel really good. So, and I get a lot of inspiration from Jamaica. So that's where I'd like to go. What about you, Bill?
I'd love to be able, you know, to go back to New York. We have a store there. I have a lot of friends back there. And, you know, they've just been through such an unbelievably difficult time. So I'd love to just go back, you know. I want to be part of that resurgence. You know, I'm hopeful. It's tough for our store there, but, you know, such a great city. And I've had so many great times and memories back there. And I stay at my best friend's house in Brooklyn when I go. So I'd love to be able to go back there soon. So hopeful.
It's strange, the feeling of limitation. Like normally you can kind of go when you want to, but it's a strange feeling for all of us. And I know, especially for people that travel more like you guys.
Yeah, I don't, you know, the traveling, it's kind of nice to take a break from that when you do, you know, this industry that we're in, you know, you're always on the go. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day about it. You know, normally in a year, you travel around the world at least 2 times, right? You go to Europe, you go to Asia. Patty travels a lot. You know, we kind of realizing you don't really have to do that probably, right? It's probably better for this world if we don't do that quite as much, and just for what this is going to look like coming out of this. But it's kind of nice, I think it's life expanding to not have to do trade shows and not travel as much. It's kind of a nice break.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great perspective. Thank you for sharing that, Bill. Patty, do you have anything to add on that?
Well, I do miss traveling, so it's hard, but it'll be interesting to see what travel looks like at the end of this. Yeah, it's nice to have a break at home because I am gone a lot. So, but I am just to get back to Japan. That's another place I'd like to go.
Certain spots, yeah. It's like you'll miss, but yeah, embracing it. It's almost like a simpler life right now that we're all living somewhat. So,
definitely.
Another question for you guys. So what are some of your interests outside of eyewear? We've had some conversations off around the shop and things over the years. And I want to just get you guys, where you're at. Tell other people, what are some of your interests outside of eyewear?
Bill?
Oh, well, I have lots of things I enjoy to do. I live in Laguna Beach, so I hike quite a bit. There's these trails right behind my house. I love being out there. I mean, within 5 minutes walk from my house, I can be where you can't even see any homes or anything, so I love being out there. And the trails were closed, but they're back open now, so we can kind of get back out there. So that's fun. I love playing golf, but that's a little more difficult these days to do. And then just kind of hanging out with everybody, being with my wife. And, I love playing guitar, and music's a huge hobby of mine. I have a lot of friends that are in the music business. And again, man, I worry about all those people. Their livelihood is based on getting out there, traveling, performing. And I know that's a super tough thing right now. So I hope we can figure it all out, find a vaccine or a cure for this terrible thing, and get people out doing what they're really good at. Because I love going to live music and being a part of that.
Yeah, I feel the same. I love music, and I miss that element of being able to go to shows and art shows. I had a friend visiting this weekend who's an artist, and another friend who's curates art shows, and she used to work for Sotheby's. And that was one of the things that we were kind of all talking about, how much we miss, going to art shows, going to galleries and museums, and just missing kind of that culture. And I belong to the Grammy Museum, and so they're doing some interesting things. They have kind of like it's like kind of like a book club, but it's albums, and then they talk about different albums and like the history of the album, and the significance of certain songs on the album. And then you come back the next week and you've listened to those songs, and it's kind of like a little forum, which is cool, that I found. Actually, Gary, well, you guys might all like that too. Bill, you too. They just did one a couple weeks ago on a Bob Marley album, and that's what kind of got me inspired to just listen to it and stuff like that. But I miss museums and galleries.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of music, on Instagram, and I was watching.
Who have you been watching, Bill? Who's been your?
I watched this thing. Well, Ryan Bingham. I watched him a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
I love Ryan Bingham. Jason Isbell. I've been watching him. Friends of mine. I have Jesse Alexander and John Randall. They're songwriters in Nashville, and they're married, and they've been doing this backyard thing. It's fun to watch those guys and just see people out there doing it, but trying to get some new music that way. I think Jason Isbell just released his new album, which is really great. If you like that Americana music, which I love. So
yeah, that's good.
A lot of different ones. Justin Townes Earl, got to see him just before this thing happened, so that was fun. But
that's cool. It's so fun to see everyone innovate during this time, and you almost have more access in a way. I mean, you want them to find a way to monetize it, but certainly, like, as far as like access, there's been more than ever right now.
Yeah. Did you see that they for 3 days? I think it was the 15th, 17th, or the 15th through the 18th. The Prince Estate released a concert of Prince in Syracuse, New York, from 1987. So it was like in the Purple Rain era. It was online for 3 days, never seen before, and they were raising money for COVID-19.
Wow.
I'm not sure how. I guess people were just donating. I don't know. I watched it 3 days in a row. It was so amazing. And just, I don't know when it'll be online again or when you'll see something like that. Just because he was so protective, of his music and stuff. That was pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot going on that you can do online.
Yeah.
I was with my son and we were like, he's like, what's one of the favorite guitar players? And I said, oh, Prince is one of my, he's amazing. And so I took him online, and there's it was a Hall of Fame, rock and roll thing where Prince came out, and Petty was singing, and they were playing a George Harrison song. And Prince, it's one of them, you can Google it. It's one of the most famous guitar solos of all time. And my son was his mouth was just open going, oh my God, I had no idea. I go, yeah, the man could play. It was fun to do that with your kids. A lot of fun.
Well, and once again,
this is realize how epic he was.
Epic.
He played 135 different instruments, and he didn't just play them. I mean, he was like a master.
The brilliance of that. I mean, just the mental capacity to play that many instruments is fascinating.
Yeah.
I actually just watched that Miles Davis documentary on Netflix, and that blew me away. I didn't know he had so much different. Basically, he changed his his look every 5 or 10 years, and he was just phenomenal. I mean, he wasn't a great person per se, but his music was phenomenal.
He wore great eyewear. Right?
He did wear great eyewear. That's a good inspiration right there.
Yeah, for sure.
So another question for you guys. Who is inspiring you right now? Is there an artist, author, designer? Could be from any era or whatnot, maybe a book. We've kind of spoken around this already, but is there anyone specifically right now that's inspiring you?
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of period movies. I'm rewatching Downton Abbey, watching Belgravia and Outlander, and I don't know. I guess that's kind of what I've been into lately. I don't know if it's inspiring, but I mean, I just love, the costumes and the cars, everything. So, and then for me, Amy Winehouse is always a huge inspiration.
I'm really inspired by people who can find really a positive outlook, daily, whether it's, it's incredible because when you go through something like this and it's tough on the people that you work with, and that, these are people we love and we care about these people and we're worried about them, and we don't have all the answers, but man, a positive solution driven outlook, people that really, even in terrible situations, can really say, look, we're going to come together and we're going to try and fight through this every day. It's inspiring to me because, it's difficult. People have families, they have bills to pay. We've had to furlough a lot of really pretty much everybody in our company. All of our retail stores have been closed. And the response from our team has just been, it's emotional, because they're into it and they want to be a part of it. And they've been very understanding of the whole situation and really wanting to be a part of the solution and not part of that problem. That it's inspiring to me, really, guys. It's unbelievable. We're talking to you guys, and I've talked to Gary and I've talked to Josh and Ryan, and they're just, the attitude's always right, and it's easy for the attitude to be wrong and for people to go really negative. But when people are trying to find little things every day to be positive about and find solutions, to difficult problems, that's what gets me going. And that's what I want to be part of the solution moving forward. And the world's not going to look the same, but there are going to be positive solutions going forward for everyone, because, people are good, I think, basically, for the most part, with certain exceptions.
I love that, Bill. Thank you. You guys are inspiring to us. And I think, especially in eyewear, if you think about we're in this together. At the end of the day, we're truly in this together. And you realize that during times like these where you're like, okay, yeah, let's do this together. How do we get back on our feet together? So thank you.
Definitely.
Sure, that's great. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into BP a little bit. So what are you guys most excited about right now with Barton Perrera?
Well, I'm I'm excited about the new designs that we have coming out. And we started showing the collection in the spring to a few accounts, but because of the shows, we didn't get to like fully put the collection out there. And I think there's some really beautiful pieces in that collection that I'm proud of. I think Bill's proud of them too. And I'm excited for things to open back up and for people to kind of get a glimpse of what, you know, we've been working on. And then going forward, the collection that's following this one is, I think, going to be pretty good too. So that's what I'm.
They're all good.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look through my kit or my trays, and I'm like, God, I just want them to be out in the world. You know, they're my babies.
I would think that would be hard as an artist too, because it's like that release is such a big deal because you've been enjoying it for a while, but then seeing other people enjoy it is another level. But that's been kind of on pause a little bit, I guess, during this time.
Yeah. Because I mean, from conception to delivery is about a year, so
wow.
It is. It's like, okay, enough already. Let's get them out there.
Mm-hmm.
Patty's been working on design a lot because she's going, I got so many great new things, you know, so, you know, we just got to get through the next few months and really plan accordingly. I'm excited to get to that point, you know, to where we can say, all right, and you know, we do get reinforcement on the collections. I mean, I know you guys, Oklahoma City got the collection in, and you reached out and said, oh, we love it, the plastics. And
we're already selling it, Bill.
Yeah, and you're already
selling. Already on Faces.
So we're getting it out there, you know, and it's just, I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. And, you know, I think there'll be great opportunities. Is it going to be tough? Yeah. But business is sometimes tough, you know, sometimes it is difficult. You just got to really take that challenge head on and go forward at it and see what you can come out with. I'm excited for where we'll be in 6 months to a year, because I think we have great talent, and Patty's an amazing designer, and it's always fun to be a part of that world. So yeah, even when it's a little altered.
Feels like everything's been turned upside down a little bit.
A little bit.
But the perseverance and even the design, Patty, it's amazing how much like it just, there's always something fresh. There's always something. We see that new collection and we're like, what could be next, you know? And you always amaze us, you know? We look at there and we can't wait to sell it, you know? And that's a tribute to what you guys are doing. So when did your love for eyewear begin?
I started wearing glasses when I was about 12. And I remember being really excited to be able to wear glasses. And it became a kind of a part of my look. And then I stopped wearing them for a while. And then I guess it was in about 1987 when I started working for Oliver Peoples that I kind of fell back in love with it again. And it was a really interesting time, you know, because it was that pivotal moment where like all the really fashion designer brands kind of took a back seat basically to this vintage resurgence that Oliver Peoples, Matsuda, Bata, and all these kind of collections created. And it was really, really a very interesting time. So I guess that's kind of where I got interested again in eyewear. And then I started collecting. I've always really been into vintage, but then I started specifically collecting vintage eyewear. And then it went crazy from that moment and hasn't stopped.
How many pieces would you say you have like in your possession typically?
Yeah, I mean,
can't count.
Yeah, it's more than 1,000.
Do you have them displayed and such, or how does that look in your house?
I have, well, I'll turn my thing this way. I have that little rack there that's like a rounder of vintage glasses, and those are kind of just I change them out every once in a while when I get something new. They're not all that organized. I have a vintage Dior trunk that actually one of our reps, or not a rep, a customer of ours in Paris used to be a rep for Dior in the 80s. And he was cleaning out his basement and he found his sample kit, like his traveling sample bag. And it's like 4 or 5 trays, and it's all brand new, never worn Dior from the basically late 70s, early 80s. So I have my Dior trunk. And then beyond that, they're just in plastic bins, and they're kind of organized set by either era or by designer, because I have a lot of Dior and I have a lot of, what do I have?
Everything.
Courage, those are my two favorites. And I have some Persol bits and pieces. It's not all in perfect shape, but for inspiration, it works.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
How about you, Bill?
She has quite a few frames. 1,000 isn't quite right, I think. So I add another digit to that at least.
This isn't a game for Patty. She loves eyewear, right? Like, you love eyewear.
And for me, I started the first collection I ever really got to work on was Matsuda back in the late 80s, and to really meet those guys in Japan, and that relationship goes till today with those manufacturers and designers over there. And just to be able to really, for me, seeing the evolution of collections, there's some collections that I just like Dior or Cartier in the 80s, and how do you develop a collection? How do you go about it? How do you put it together, and how do you make something that's good, not just 1 year, but over a period of time? One of the keys is you work with someone like Patty, but really that's what I love, because then you're like branding it and looking for a bigger vision, and how do you support retail in that? And we look at Barton Perrieira as like, if you had to have one collection in the world, what's that collection? For us, it's Barton Perrieira, and that's why we have our own stores. And it's just, there's a depth to it in the way you evolve it that I love doing that. At Oliver Peoples, Patty and I got to start a brand called Mosley Tribes. That's the challenge, and when you start something like Barton Perrieira from scratch, it's fun, it's like, because you have a real vision, you have a real plan of what that collection can be, and you can see thousands of customers wearing your eyewear, and something that you believe in. That's where the passion comes. And at the end of the day, if you look at eyewear and just go, that collection's okay, that's when it's time to stop. That's when, but we're the opposite of that. I think we're more excited than ever, about what we produce and the collections that we bring out. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, you guys have frames that are timeless, that we have clients that have purchased some of your very first frames from us, and they're still bringing them in and doing lenses. And, I'll see a frame and I'll just get curious, like, oh, what is this? I've never seen this before. This is, I'll do a little research, like, wow, it's like, it has longevity. And I think that's incredible with your brand. So this next question is, I'm going to dial it in, hearing how much eyewear you both potentially have in your collection. I'm going to dial it into Barton Perrieira, but what's your all-time favorite Barton Perrieira frame that you've created?
Oh gosh.
Do you have one?
Well, I love the Emmanuel. Bill might say the same one, but I do. It's probably the first. Well, it's not the first frame I designed when I was thinking about Barton Perrieira. The Voyeur was, but the first one that allowed me to incorporate like animal texture and color, and a little bit of that like 70s vibe, and we ended up doing it in two sizes and 13 colors, but it was just amazing. Designing that frame was really, really fun for me. So I think it makes me feel happy when I think about it, and what I was going through at the time of designing that, and like being in the shower and thinking, oh my God, we could do pink crocodile, or we could do whatever, you know what I mean? Because I love animal texture. So that was really fun for me. That's probably my favorite. Not my favorite for me to wear personally, but probably my favorite frame I designed for Barton Perrieira.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, when Patty first showed me drawings, when we had gotten together and kind of loosely talked about what we would think of our own brand looking like, and she showed me drawings, and it was a lot. It was about over 400 at the time, and I was like, holy. But when I saw the Emmanuel, I turned to her and I was like, oh, we're doing this. We're not just the frame, we're doing the collection. That's when I saw something that was unique, wearable, sellable, special. Sometimes, when you have to produce, edit, whatever, a collection, you have to see things that give you that confidence, right? And when I saw that Emmanuel design on paper, I was like, oh, we're doing this. This is on. And So my favorite men's frame we ever did on the other side, that's a woman's sunglass, Emmanuel, was the Breed Love, just because it was so beautifully made, titanium, this beautiful hinge, leather trim, glass polarized. It was like, but still super clean, wearable. I mean, J-Lo wore it. We had men, women, everybody could wear that frame. And it just, to me, that was like a perfect frame. It was like, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. First collection.
Yeah. I have to push in there a little bit. So this dynamic between you two is obviously something special, but it's interesting what you just said as far as the design aspect, like having great eyewear, and then obviously the business savvy. Talk about that dynamic that you guys have had over the years and just what that looks like, because I think people would be interested in that part of the story.
Patty and I have known each other a long time, back to the 90s. Patty was at Oliver Peoples, and, we were a big customer at Optical Shop of Aspen. And, I knew, Larry and Kenny and all the people at Oliver Peoples pretty well for a long time. And, but don't really know about something until you're behind the curtain, right? And so when I started at Oliver Peoples, and really the design team there, Patty was the head of design, and Larry Light and I worked with her on it to kind of produce the collections. Once you work with someone, how talented they are and what they're capable of. And, Oliver Peoples was such a massive deal that Patty never really got the credit for what she did there and some of the collections. And, she really was the force, though, there creatively and on the design side. So when we could work together after we sold Oliver Peoples to Oakley, I knew we'd have a great shot at it. I knew it would be a very good thing. And plus we're very close, I love Patty like family, so it's easy to work with Patty. We've been 20 years, dear, almost together. We don't argue, we don't fight, we listen a lot, which is good.
Yeah, I think it's very special, and a lot of times people will ask me advice, or if you could give me one piece of advice on starting a business, whatever, and the first thing that comes out of my mouth is always choose your partners wisely. I mean, and I don't think that I would have done this with anybody else besides Bill. I can't even imagine. There isn't even anything that even comes to mind, or a person that comes to mind that I would rather do this with. Bill challenges not only me, everybody in the company. And he's very, he's, like you said, he's always positive. And, he every time I am during this quarantine situation, he always makes me feel at ease when I get anxious, and he's like, we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this. Like, he doesn't let me go there, cause I want to go there sometimes, and he just doesn't let me go there. And I think that's why I kind of focus on the design and like trying to create things that are beautiful, that are classic, that are timeless, that so people do come back and decide that they want to invest in a pair of glasses, that it's something that they're not going to feel bad about, or that they're going to use only for a season. It's going to have longevity. It's going to live in their closet for a while, and they're going to go back to it, and sorry, but put new lenses in it because it's the quality's there, and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's we've created something special with Barton Perreira. When we decided to do this, it was one thing that we told each other, is that we weren't going to compromise on design or on the manufacturing aspect. I didn't want to design beautiful frames and make them in China or Italy or anywhere. It was always our focus to produce in Japan, because in my opinion and our opinion, they're the best.
You guys have created an incredible platform for everyone to enjoy. I mean, and it's fun to watch the evolution in any eyewear company, but I think Barton Perreira is really special because we have such a close connection with you all. And it is so wearable and timeless. So yeah, it's a beautiful what you guys have done. You guys had a collaboration planned this year. We were all super excited about. Can you guys talk about that a little bit, or is there anything besides that collaboration that you have in the pipeline? Or
we got some stuff coming. Patty, tell them about what we have coming. That's probably.
Are you referring to the 007 collaboration, or?
Yeah. I mean, that was probably one of them that we knew about.
So. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was that's pretty amazing. I mean, I guess it kind of got put on hold. Well, it was postponed. When is the movie's coming out in November or something
In
like
November.
that? So I think that's when we're going to see the big rush of that. But I mean, it's been amazing. As soon as photos were leaked of Daniel Craig wearing the Joe, it was bananas for us. And it's really interesting how it happened. I mean, because, you know, people pay a lot of money to be in these kind of movies for product placement and that sort of thing. And their prop master actually contacted Barton Pereira through info@bartonperreira.com and said that they would like to buy some glasses for the characters in the movie. And we were just like, sure. You want to buy them? Okay. You know, and we sent some trays of glasses to them, and they ended up choosing 3 or 4 pairs for characters in the movies. I think 3 ended up making it in the final cut. But then the producer, the director, the prop master, like the whole team was, you know, like into the collection and buying the glasses. And so that was really fun. I don't think that we realized how big it was going to be until after things got rolling a bit. And I mean, Bill knows more about that than I do.
I mean,
on the business side.
We initially, we really didn't know what a big deal it was. I mean, quite frankly, you know, we had no idea the impact that this was going to make. And they kind of approached us and said, well, you know, do you want to do something with this license? And we said, well, let's see if you use the product, you know, or not. You know, we're kind of like, because we've never really done a licensing agreement before. And, you know, we're not a mass distribution company. And so they came to us like a week after the first photo had come online. And we were like, oh my God. I mean, we sold so many of those frames so fast. And we said, well, yeah, we'll do some limited license agreement with you. And they were really great to work with. They're big fans of the brand. And that makes it a lot easier when they come to you and they love what you're doing. And, you know, we're hopeful that we get to do a lot of projects with these guys moving forward.
If you guys were not designing eyewear and not running a successful company, what would you be doing right now?
Pushing a shopping cart in the streets? No, I don't know.
Like, what's kind of like your, if you didn't have this company, like what do you think your ultimate, like what would you love to be doing if you weren't doing eyewear?
I would probably be designing jewelry or watches, some sort of accessory. I don't know, handbags.
Yeah.
It would be something in design.
You guys are doing what you love, so it's a difficult question.
I enjoy what I do, but I love the retail aspect of what we do. I love retail, how you can set it up. I love a minimal look in retail and giving a better experience. So I'd love to be, you know, if it could be a restaurant, it could be anything, you know. I love, how do you set up that perfect experience for your customers in that retail? Because I think it's kind of a lost art out there, really. You know, there's some great stores, Black Optical, Barton Pereira, but most stores you go into today, it's not great, you know. And so I love that experience. You're setting up a store where you walk in and someone goes, wow, this is great. You know, if it wasn't eyewear, it'd be something along those lines. You know, the presentation, you know, or branding, you know, how do you do a brand? How do you set up a brand? And that's what I love. It's fun.
You'd be a phenomenal consultant on that, Bill, at some point.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep Barton Pereira going so we don't have to.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's the first. That's the first thing. I mean in your 90s, Bill. I'm talking in your 90s.
Yeah. Clearly, that's coming soon.
I think those are some great answers. I know once a designer, I mean, that's kind of what you always love doing. That's what brings passion. And once, you know, being in retail and thinking about kind of the bespoke experience that you want to create for someone, I think, you know, that's always going to be something that you love doing. So thank you for sharing those answers.
It's an opinion when you're doing retail. You know, Patty knows I have an opinion. Like when we do our stores, you know, I love doing that, but I'm pretty opinionated about it. You know, I know what I want it to look like and feel like. When we have events, I'll set up every frame in our store because I want it to look a certain way. And it's kind of how I was taught in the very beginning. And, you know, just, you know, to make that presentation perfect, it's fun, it's challenging, and it's great. I love doing it. So,
what does the future of Barton Pereira look like?
Well, I hope it looks good. You know, I mean, I've had some of these conversations, and I'm with our sales team, and just I'm like, look, you know, you got to prepare for a situation that isn't optimal going forward, right? Every business, if I could consult and give you any advice, I'd say, look, worst case scenario, if you can handle that, then if it's better, great. But be prepared for that tough circumstance going forward, because I think that's the key to getting through anything. You know, Patty and I, when we started Barton Perrera, it's the same thing. You know, we can't think we're just going to sell every single person that we try and open up. We have to be prepared for that worst case. And then if it's a better situation going forward, fantastic. You know, that's great. And I would tell people that today. I told my sales reps, you have to be prepared to make less money for the next 6 months, you know, and then get through that and then go forward, you know. So that's kind of, we want to just see what we can achieve in the next 6 months and see where we're at as a company, and then hopefully move forward strongly from that point, you know. Again, positive solutions every day to get to that next thing and then go from there. But I don't think you can say in this environment, where are we going to be 2 years from now, you know. I think you have to worry about the next 6 months and then the next year. That's
yeah, it's going to be baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
You know, because it's going to be a different landscape. You know, we're not really sure yet what it's going to look like. We'll have to see how it rolls out. But I think we have a good team, and
Great
you know,
team.
we
Great
have
team.
you know, great customers like Black Optical that are good. So I think just we have to work together and see what's going to work for all of us, you know. But I'm hopeful.
Yeah, we all are. Keep doing what you're doing. We're here to support you guys and keep selling frames. We love the brand, so thank you.
Thank you.
You guys.
Absolutely. This is a very serious time in our interview here. We have some rapid fire questions for you two. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, boots or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Hoops or surfing?
Hoops.
Patty's like neither.
Surfing.
Okay, minimal or bold?
Minimal.
Minimal.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Mountain.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Coffee.
You guys are the perfect yin and yang.
Can I just say, when you said hoops, I was thinking earrings.
Oh.
I was totally like.
That was kind of a softball.
You got to bring the game to the street, Pat.
Okay, hoops.
To be honest, that was a softball question to Bill. I'm sorry.
Josh, you knew the answer for me.
I know. I just wanted to talk about hoops, Bill.
I know.
Gold or silver?
Gold.
Silver.
Raw or refined?
Refined.
I guess it depends what it is. I'm going to say raw.
Acetate or titanium?
Acetate.
Acetate.
Tailored or oversized?
Tailored.
Oversized.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for your time. This is so much fun. I know you guys are busy, so it means a lot that you took some time.
All right.
Thank you for
Be good, guys.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.